You have another question? Okay, good. What's the question? Oh, the communication cube, language cube. Well, just happen to have that here. Okay. First of all, we don't even have a name for it. Language cube, communication cube. I've looked all over the internet myself. I've looked everywhere, and maybe you know more about this than I do. But personally, I've never seen anything that even resembles or attempts to put all of our language in a geometric structure. And that is what the language cube's all about. And to understand the R3, like we talked about a little while ago, this communication cube or this language cube, we must understand this. This is what I would consider what I call a universal system model, which probably will be your next question, what's a universal system model? But basically, the language cube, or the communication cube, takes all of language and puts it in a cube. And it's probably would fall under both information management, information science, as well as linguistics. So people that would study languages would understand these kind of things. So if you know anything about language, this might be of interest to you. But the basics, just to learn the basics, there's a lot of dynamics to it. But if you look to the foundation of our project, we believe information must be stored geometrically. I know that's a mouthful, but moving away from that, language, we believe, also is stored geometrically, whether we realize it or not. So when we speak, we're actually speaking in a certain geometric structure. I might be wrong in this, but from what I understand, when we smell something, it's kind of a communication. We smell something, it's triggered in our nose through geometric structure, and that's how we smell. There's a lot of things in information. I believe personally, in all of nature, it's geometric. All information must be stored geometrically. But let me talk to you specifically. Let me give you just a really quick synopsis on the communication cube, language cube, whatever we're going to call it. So, let's say theoretically that I've got to convince you first that our language is in fact a cube. And that's the clincher. Let me prove it to you. Have you ever heard of interrogatives? Or have you ever heard of parts of speech? Or what about verb tenses? This is what the communication cube's all about. You've got this cube here, okay? And basically it breaks everything down into how many sides does a cube have? 6 sides. Well, we believe that the 6 sides parallel, or whatever you want to call it, correspond with the 6 interrogatives. You've got what on top, you've got why on the bottom, you've got who on the right, how on the left, where in the front, when in the back. Okay? So you've got where, when, what, why, who, how. And that gives us an orientation and an information management. This is the way we believe we store all information. Now that's going to be very important. So when you ask me a question, you might ask me a question, or I might ask you a question, but sometimes it might be more of a who, what. And so it's in the upper area. So that's going to take some time to get used to. The interrogatives are the sides. But what else is about a cube? The cube has edges, it has corners. It has basically, a cube has 6 sides, it has 12 edges, and it has 8 corners. Thus you have this. So, and it has one single center. So this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a video that's going to take a little while. So basically we take all of language and we believe that information is kind of happens to correspond to the cube. We've already talked about the interrogatives. So we basically got the top and the bottom, the sides, these sides basically. So if we took those away, those would be the interrogatives. But now, how many parts of speech are there? There's 8 parts of speech. Well, it depends on who you ask, right? Okay, so we say there's 8 parts of speech. So we basically say the 8 parts of speech correspond with the 8 corners. So you've got all the parts of speech. You've got interjections, verbs, nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions. So those correspond to the corners. Well, what are the edges? Well, we believe that the edges correspond with the 12 tenses of verbs. How many tenses are there? There's 12 tenses. And I would suppose this would be in any language, because basically the 12 tenses are basically, there's past, present, future, kind of, and then there's simple, progressive, perfect, perfect, progressive, basically. So there's, if you were to break that down, you've got 3 on one side, 4 on the other. You've got, four sets of three, basically past, present. You've got simple past, simple present, simple future. You've got simple or past progressive, past present, past future, and you've got this on through perfect and perfect progressive. Now, I don't expect you to understand language. I don't even understand language fully. But what I wanted to help you understand is that's kind of that in an essence, it's very important that you understand the contents of the language cube. One other thing, very important. Let me prove to you, and actually I should have started off with this, but the simple structure of a sentence, what is it? Well, it's subject, verb, matter. Depending on what language you speak, the syntax is different, but you still have a subject, verb, matter. Subject, verb, matter. The subject, verb, matter, we believe, correspond with the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So it's got x, y, and z. So, in a nutshell, the language cube, communication cube, whatever we're going to call it, basically, is the theory or the belief that all of language is cube. You're going to hear this again and again and again working on the project. So you might want to get familiar with the communication cube. Thank you.